So, good morning, good night, depending on where you are, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude in a Couch. Today, I'm joined by Jay Briscoe. He's the bassist and the lead singer for the band Iatt. They're a black metal, progressive, death metal band, all that together from Philadelphia. And they're going to release next week their brand new album called Magnum Opus.
Yes.
So we're gonna talk about the album and other things. So first of all, thank you for taking time to talk with me, Jay. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having us. We appreciate the PR and the attention for our album. Doing pretty well. We're just getting back from our mini tour last weekend, so I'm adjusting back to normal civilian life.
Yeah, no, I saw that you had some shows last week. How did the shows go? Everything went well?
Yeah, they went really well. We started off in our hometown in Philadelphia, and we got a really good response. We've seen some people that we haven't seen in a few years. And then we went down to Washington, D.C. It was an amazing venue. It was called Atlas Brewworks. They have a venue inside of their brewery. So that was very interesting. We were able to test some of their beers, some of their best. And I saw some people from my hometown. My dad came out to see my first show. It's the first time he's ever seen us. So it was pretty awesome. And then our last stop was at Sovereign in Brooklyn, New York. And that was an amazing turnout. Some really good progressive bands, some of New York City's finest. And it was a barbecue place too. So it was a win-win.
Sounds like fun. You had beers, you had your barbecue, and people got to listen to the music. So I had the chance to obviously get Magnum Opus ahead of time and listen to it. I was last night listening with the headphones. I like to listen to it, to get all the nuances of the album. And so looking at the information of the album and listening to the songs, there's a bit of a concept to the album, Magnum Opus being the great work and being a lot of alchemy. Is this album a full concept album, or is it just like the themes that run through the album with the alchemy?
So I would say that it is a hybrid between theme and concept. A lot of my lyrics and in the past are theme based, but I want the listener to be able to take away their own personal attachment to the songs and the lyrics. A lot of my lyrics are personal, and basically Magnum Opus is a journey. It's a journey. It's a spiritual journey of improving and bettering yourself with the alchemy inspired themes.
Yeah, no, I thought it was very interesting and something that I really like, because, when they put you, like you're a black metal band, but I like bands that have some experimentation. And, Iatt is not like a pure like black metal band, like those black metal bands that you hear from Norway. You have a lot of prog infused to the songs, and I think that's very good in extreme metal to have that. Like I like that experimentation myself.
As I stated in one of our docu-series, progressive black metal isn't exactly a new term. If you've listened to Emperor, maybe yes, the later stages of Emperor, there was a lot of progressive infused elements. You have bands like Enslaved that were generally like a black metal band to start off, and then later down the road, they started to experiment with more progressive elements.
I would say they're more prog band now.
Yeah, they are. And they toured with Between the Buried and Me. So, yeah. But they also, they had their black metal roots. So it may seem like a new thing to elitists, but you have Easton, that is very progressive, has a lot of jazz influenced stuff within their albums. So these are bands that really influenced us and kind of gave us the okay to experiment.
Yeah.
We love the epicness and the vile, ferocious style of black metal, but we love our prog too at the same time. So
yeah, no, I think it gives the songs more depth, more, more to grab onto. Like I think when you talk, obviously metal elitists from the past saying no, it's not true about black metal, but I think fans nowadays are more in tune with experimentation. At least for me, I like different styles of rock and metal, so I don't mind if they're done well together. And something that this album has, I love all the extra instruments that you use. Like there's songs with piano, violin, and obviously saxophone, which is yes. I remember a few years ago when a saxophone was brought back with Rivers of Nile, so yes. It's no longer considered Kenny G.
Yeah, that is true. There's room for it within yeah. metal. Isan had saxophone in some of his albums as well. So if there's a space for it, if there's a will, there's going to be a way. It gives yeah. different a different emotion, a different feeling. It's a very stark instrument, so we felt that it fit at that moment in time.
Yeah, no, I think if it's used like in a good way, because it's not on every song and not overuse it. But like, for example, on the single Prima Materia, yes. the saxophone solo comes like at the middle of the song, and it's like a great bridge from that part to the ending of the song. And it was the guest star. I know you had 2 guest stars as a saxophone on different songs, because I was reading and there's saxophone on 4 of the songs. There's on Ouroboros, Prima Materia, Burial in the Sky, and Planes of Existence, which is more instrumental, and it has that great saxophone part. But yeah, I love it that you have all those elements mixing to the extreme metal. So in a way, it's good to see that extreme music can also bring all those elements that maybe sometime in the past would haven't been used. So yeah, I think that's great. So how do you feel extreme metal has evolved over the years?
Well, I would say that with extreme metal, bands are always pushing the envelope, or at least the bands that I listen to, they're pushing the envelope of, what can they come up with next? How can we better ourselves in a way, and that's kind of the take that we have. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we don't want to disrespect, the pavement that the forefathers also came with. So I just feel like it's a great time to be involved with music, or to be in the music scene, and it's a great time for the listener as well, because bands are just so inventive now.
No, they are.
And I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, no, and there's some guest vocalists. You have I don't know how to say his name, Jake Supershin from Iatt, yes. on 7 Wandering Stars, which is another kick-ass song. How did that collaboration come to fruition?
Okay, so back in 2018, we did a mini tour, and we ran into an opening band in Pittsburgh, and the lead vocalist, his name was Nate Verschoor. Very shortly after, Nate invited us to play a festival. We played the festival. We cemented our bond with him, and a few months later, he joined Iatt and became the bassist of Iatt.
Awesome.
So he's always been a supporter of Iatt, and I spoke with him and asked if I could get Jake to guest vocal on Seven Wandering Stars. Because as you know, if you're familiar with Iatt, their vocalist does a lot of howling screams.
Yeah, I've listened to him. Yeah.
And I saw that in Seven Wandering Stars. And it was an element that I wanted to add to the song. So Jake reached out to me and said that he would do the project. And I told him I would pay him fully, and we agreed to do it. He experimented a little bit and came back to me with the haunting clean vocals. And I wasn't expecting him to do clean vocals.
Yeah, that's like at the beginning, like some of the beginning of the song, it's like very kind of, it's clean and kind of operatic a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. And I wasn't expecting that because, you know, I'm used to him doing harsh vocals, but I felt like, hey, this really works and it works really well. And he did clean vocals in his other band, Ceremonial Castings, but I wasn't too familiar with them. And then when I went back to listen, I was like, oh, he does some clean vocals here. But he really set that song to another level. And that's what you want when you have a guest vocalist or a guest musician. You want them to bring that song to another level. And it took off. I love what he did with it. I love how it fits in the mix and everything. So,
yeah.
But the last part of the story, once he sent over his final vocal tracks, I tried to pay him, and he said, I really loved your project. I love what you did. I can't take money from a hardworking band that's just trying to make it. And after he said that, it just made the guest appearance that much better because he was sincere, he was genuine, and he was just a real person, you know?
Yeah.
So I applaud him for that, and that will always stick with me.
Yeah, and it's one of the standout tracks on the album. You know, I read that it's actually the final song, but on a CD, there's one that follows it. But yeah, it's a great song, and I think your vocals with his vocals, the duality works well for it. So yeah, and like you said, when you have a guest musician, first of all, you want to be able to listen to the guest musician, because I hate it when there's like a song and they say they have like a guest musician and you can barely hear them, or they're like a little snip and you're like, no, they didn't do anything for the song. But on this one, yeah, he obviously contributes a lot to the song, and I can see why you chose that one as a single. I know the other single that you chose, the I think it's Elixir.
Yes,
the Elixir one. That's a great song as well. So I want to show the artwork of this album because I love the artwork for it. I think it's super strong, and it looks like an oil painting, if you will. I have here the name of somewhere, I think Adam Burke, I think is the artist that work on this. So with this album cover for Magnum Opus, what did you wanted to convey with the artwork?
Well, initially, we wanted to have someone that was basically showing that they were going through a journey, and to show that they were implying, alchemy and the search for the sorcerer's stone to make them. We just really wanted someone to really portray like the alchemy theme, basically, and portray the great work, which is part of the Sorcerer's Stone. That's what I was trying to get to. But we didn't imagine it to look this way. And what Adam came with, we were stoked about. It has all the symbols that relate to alchemy. It has, the staffs with fire and the smoke. And obviously it's outdoors. So that was our initial plan, was, someone on a treacherous journey, trying to just improve themselves and become the best that they can be. And he just knocked it out of the park with his theme.
No, I agree.
We wanted a lot of like earth tones. We basically gave him a palette, and he just basically worked with that palette of colors and his, his work was phenomenal.
No, it is great.
We got to the point where we didn't know where to put our logo because we didn't want to interrupt the piece, you know. So that's kind of why it's like discreet and at the bottom. You know, the nebula inside of the cloak, that was amazing. We loved it altogether.
Yeah, no, just the details on the skull that, you know, it's so vibrant, the colors. You feel like, even though I'm looking at it through a screen, you feel like you can touch it. Like, it's very palpable. I think it's an amazing album cover, and it really, you know, explains what the album is about.
Yeah.
And, you know, talking about your logo, something I can appreciate about your logo is that I can fucking read it. Because, you know, a lot of extreme metal bands put those logos that you just can't read what it says there. I'm like, what the fuck is the name of your band? How am I? Because look at this. I love the cleanness of the logo and the thing in the middle, and that I can read it.
Yeah, well, a thing about our logo is this is an updated logo.
Yeah, I saw that you updated it for this album.
So our logos kind of evolve with our sound, and they evolve with where we are. For the most part, I would say like our music is very clean sounding in a way. So we feel that our logo should fit that sound. A lot of times you have like the old school death metal bands, or the new wave of, you know, old school death metal bands, or like more like the slam bands and things like that. Their sound kind of portrays their logo, so it fits. Yeah. So in a way, when you look at the logo, it kind of fits the sound of the band in a way. You know, you kind of understand what you're getting yourself into when you.
Yeah, when you see a logo like that, you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. So I mean, with this new logo update, we had an older song that was entitled Arsenic Ways. And we used like kind of like the chemical sign for arsenic, which was like two triangles inverting into each other. And with arsenic, there's a lot of transforming and changing, and the two triangles stand for the transformation of the band and the progressive push for the band. So it's kind of us making a statement that, you know, we're transforming and we're pushing forward. We're always moving forward. We're a very forward-thinking band. So
yeah, no, I think that's great. And I saw a cover of Decibel magazine saying that you were the best kept secret out of Philadelphia in extreme metal.
That came from a review that Decibel wrote for our last album. That, you know, they were stating that we were a Philly's best kept secret, kind of a thing where we're, you know, not really known, but we should be known in a way. So
yeah, I think so too. And I think this album, Magnum Opus, you know, it's a great album. It flows well. I like how there's songs where there's a song, I think Exculpate, that at the end, it finishes with the rain sound. And like you take those earth tones and you put them in the music, and you're really like immersed in that theme of the alchemy and the Magnum Opus and the great work. So yeah, I really dug it, and especially listening on headphones, I thought it was good to get the details, because sometimes if you're not hearing with the headphones, maybe you can miss some of the details and the nuances of the songs.
Well, I will say that's something that we think of a lot about, is will the listener understand or get what we're trying to portray? And it's almost a fear for some of us. Like we worry that, you know, we put this much time or put a lot into it, and, you know, it'll just go over some people's heads. And, you know, I'm glad to see that a few people are picking up on the little nuances and little things that we put into this album. It was a very treacherous journey. I will say we started writing this album at the beginning of the pandemic. We kind of wrote it on accident. We were supposed to go on a tour out to the Midwest, and we had to cancel the tour because of COVID. And we had time off from work, so we decided to lock ourselves in the basement and start writing the album instead of, you know, going backwards and losing momentum. So we throughout the pandemic, we were writing this album, a lot of frustration that we couldn't get together too often and different emotions. So it was a lot. This is a heavy album for us because of, everything we've been through and, the world. Everything the world has been through. So there's a lot of good music coming out because of the pandemic.
There is. Yeah. At least something positive.
A lot to compete with. So
something that when the pandemic was like, I was thinking, this is going to breed a lot of like great music. And it's good that you took the time. It sounds that you took the time to work on it, because you added those violins, you added the saxophone, you added piano, you added different sounds. So it shows in the album. And I think people that enjoy black metal vocals with black progressive music, I think will enjoy it, because it's a very good album. And I think the themes that you were trying to convey, it's conveyed on the artwork, like I showed, and obviously on the titles of the song and the lyrics, because even though it's not a full concept album, you can say the themes running throughout it. So now that I know that you're going on tour, you have a few shows and tours now coming up. Like when you go on tour, like what is like an essential thing that you need to be on tour for you to have a better time, like a must-have that you have to bring on tour with you?
That's hard. That's a hard question. Air conditioning.
Oh yeah. Especially summer tours.
So so we were driving to New York this past weekend, and the AC kicked out on us. And it was one of the things where it was a humid day, and the two members that were in the back, our van windows don't really open all the way. They have like the little small windows.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt like a hot box there, and they just kept begging us to roll the windows down. So that's a really essential thing. So we have our AC back up and running again, but that can be very treacherous. I will say there was another time that we played Shadowwood's Metal Festival, and there you have to book like cabins ahead of time, and we didn't have a cabin, so we slept in our van and we had to leave the air running all night, and it was so muggy. So I would say air conditioning is one thing that is very essential with a band that doesn't have a full tour bus.
Oh yeah. Not everyone can have like a Corn or something tour bus with all the amenities. So that sounds
maybe like, one day.
you never know. You one day it can happen, but I have a few flyers here of a few shows that you're gonna do, that you're gonna have. So I think this is the first one on June 2nd, so just a few weeks from now, and you're playing with a band at the see, this is what I mean. I can't see the name of the band in the top. I don't know who there is.
So the band that we're playing with is Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
Yeah, they just released an album with Prosthetic Records. They're also a progressive black metal band. And then the second band is Dawn of Ouroboros. And
I see the Ouroboros, yeah.
Yeah, they're another progressive black metal band. So it's very rare that you come across other progressive black metal bands. So we hopped on this show. They asked us to play. So they're really good bands, and we're pretty excited to play with them there.
Yeah, sounds like a good show, and only $10. So
yeah.
I know some people will complain that it's 10 and not 8, but at least that happens back in local shows in Puerto Rico. People would complain for $10 shows, but then go to a stadium and pay $150 to see a big band and you're like, just pay the fucking $10, you know, for 4 bands. That's nothing, you know. So yeah, and you have that show, and I think I have here another. I was looking at the this one. It appears that there's a lot of bands, and for looking at the flyer, I know it's going to be brutal. Just looking at the name of the bands,
you're not going to be able to pronounce these.
No, there's there's like, for example, the one I see Gross, but beneath Gross, I don't know if it says Flesh.
I think it's
you have the cleanest logo there.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of brutal bands there. This is with a booking agency or promotion company that we've been working with. It's going to be at the Milk Boy, which was a really nice venue that we've played at. It was a Halloween show a couple years ago. So there's a few bands that we know on here that we're pretty stoked about. Obviously, they're maybe not the same subgenre as us, but there's some cool bands. But Ohio and New York and New Jersey and a few other bands. So it's going to be a good time. It's going to be
it sounds like a good time. And I think, you know, if you're going to have a show, I think it's good to have some variety, you know, like.
Yeah, definitely.
At least for me, I could see a show with a pop punk band, then followed by a new metal band, then a black metal band, death metal. I don't care. If it's good, it's good.
You get a lot of that with the bigger festivals.
Yeah, like the Lollapaloozas.
Stuff like that.
Obviously, I haven't been to a festival here in a long time, but yeah, I think it's good because I think it's good to listen to different things. I think if just as long as the music is good and it doesn't matter. So I know we haven't talked about like influences or anything, but in terms of like, if you had to be in a desert island, I did a video about a desert island. Like, what would be like your top 3 records that you would need to have on this island?
That's a tough one. Yeah,
it always makes you think about.
Just give me a second here. I would say Yes, Relayer, the Relayer album by Yes. I would say my second album would be Storm of the Light's Bane by Dissection.
Nice.
And this last one's gonna kill me.
Yeah, it's always hard.
Let's say Enslaved Issa album.
Okay, nice. Yeah. It's never easy to I put you on the spot like, hey, let's pick some 10 albums that you might like. So Jay, it was awesome talking to you, and obviously great to talk about the Magnum Opus album. So everyone, I know they can pre-order. I saw that you have some vinyl variants for it. Then people can they go on your website or also on the Black Lion Records website to pre-order it, right?
Yes, the album is actually on all platforms. So it will be on all platforms. And then it will be on the label's Bandcamp. It's going to be on Indie Merch. So if you're from the US and you don't want to pay for European shipping, it's at Indie Merch. There's other labels that are carrying it, like Nuclear Blast. Napalm Records is carrying it as well, and Seasons of Mist. So it's all over the place. We have a link in our bio on Instagram, and then we have various links on Facebook that will easily get you to where you want to purchase the album.
Yeah. So, everyone, I'll post those links on the description below so people can get to it. And next week, for those of you watching, I'm going to also review the album for the channel. Watch that for next Friday. I'll try to, it'll be the day of album release. I'll do the album review I'll have the whole week to listen to it so I can do a proper review of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excited about that.
Yeah, Jay, it was, great talking to you. I always love talking to people and finding out what inspired the albums, especially the albums that there's some themes going out through them, because I know it can't be easy. Not everyone can make a whole theme in an album work. So yeah, that's very impressive. So, and everyone, support Iatt. They're going to be doing some shows soon, and the album comes out next week. So until next time, this is Hector, the Shield on a Couch, and I'll see you right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.
All right.